Hello everybody, my name is Craig Bennett, and today I'm going to be answering a quick question with a detailed answer, and this one is going to be in coding. And basically the question, let's get down to it, is basically the person saw a video of mine that gets into Windows Universal Applications, coding into them, and they are completely new to coding. I don't know if they're completely new to coding altogether, or if they're just new to coding for Windows Universal Applications. I'm assuming that they're new to coding altogether. But they are thinking about making the following application. And what do I recommend for them to start this project? And also what videos should they watch and controls should they use? So real quick, again, I'm assuming that they'd never made an application before. And I'm going to give you two tracks real quick. So I don't know if you're doing this for your company, like your manager came up to you and they said, hey, I need you to make this application and it needs to be done before such and such time, or you need to try to get it done, or maybe you volunteer yourself or something like that. Well, the thing is it's not ethical, but it will get the project done. In my book, that's good enough. Well, what you need to do is just hire a freelancer and have them make it for you, and then you can just give it to your boss or whatever and say, here you go. But what you also need to do is make sure you understand the code. Look at the code, make sure there's nothing malicious in there. But for more than that, it's less of knowing what if something's malicious or not. It's really more of so you know how to program in the future. I've actually done this when I was starting around, where I made a handful of applications, but I didn't really know too much as far as programming goes. So back in the day, way back in the day, I hired a freelancer to make some applications for me. And then what ended up happening is I looked at the code that they wrote. I studied it and figured out why did it work. And this is a great thing because you have a product that works right there. You see it. It's a personalized product to do what you want. And normally with the freelancers, they will help you in some form or fashion up to a point. But basically, you can give that to your boss. In my case, I wasn't aiming for that, but you can give it to your boss and say, hey, this is what I can do. Here, give me a raise or don't fire me. And there you go. But the thing is this is a horrible method to go with if you're just trying to learn how to code in general and make your stuff in general. And keep in mind, one thing I'll tell you before you head off and do it, because you might be doing this for your own personal project, but you're probably going to try to sell this thing. I'm going to tell you that don't give it away for free. Probably put advertisements on it and stuff like that, but you're probably not going to get anything worthwhile. The simple fact is there's plenty of replacements of this, and the fact is not many people today uses the Windows Store either by phone or by computer. So with this, give it away for free because it is not going to be favorable for you. You're probably just going to make like 10, 20 bucks at most after several years. If that, you might not even make any money at all. And you're going to pay a freelancer about $300-400 easily. So with that, just keep that one in mind. So now let's get into the actual method, the actual track I would advise most people to go on, given that they are not on a time crunch and it's not for work. Well, you need to learn the basics. I'll advise learning Python. Just learn Python. I got videos out on it. Other people got videos out on it, and there's a lot of other resources out there. But the reason why I'm saying Python is the easiest language to actually learn. At least in my opinion, and many other people's opinions, it's the easiest language to learn. I didn't learn Alpha Python to start with because it wasn't really heavily introduced to me, but in fact, I didn't even really know what it was back in the day. But the what many schools are going to is going from teaching people with Java to teaching people with Python. It's easier to see instant results right there if something worked or doesn't. It's easier just all around for the basics, and you just need to know the basics. And believe it or not, if you know the basics of one coding language, you pretty much know the basics of all coding languages. Basically, a lot of people, they hear coding language, and where like you can probably have like something like English, which is what I'm speaking obviously, and then you probably get something else like Arabic or Spanish or whatever. And the thing is the languages are very vastly different. There's not much you can take from one language to another and just by audio wise understand what's being said. But with coding, it's completely different. You're looking at probably, and there's no, actual scientific documents saying this, but it's just a guess. You're looking at probably about a 90 to 95% of what you learn from one language will apply to any other languages. Some minor tweaks here and there, but for the most part, it will apply. And that's why I say start with Python, is because, yeah, you might not be coding with Python in whatever projects, but 90 something percent of it will transfer. So there's that. Now, as far as that goes, I mean, like if you see a if else statement, and or nor type stuff, well, if you see if else in one language and then see another language and then another, it's just pretty much the same. It's just written out slightly different. But by looking at it, you can figure it out what it's going to do within a few seconds. So with that, learn Python, and I got videos on it. Other people got videos on it, and I'll leave a link down below to the Python playlists on this coding channel. So as far as that goes, the other question is, besides learning the stuff, what videos should you watch to kind of answer that? What controls should you use for this particular thing, the Windows application? It's Visual Studio, and that's something that you kind of should have already known from looking at my video, but it's Visual Studio. Pretty much any Windows application. I mean, you can code Windows applications on other things, but Visual Studio is really made for Windows applications above everything else. So use that. It's from Microsoft for Microsoft stuff. It's easier to use. It's like with Android. I prefer Android Studio. You can use Visual Studio, you can use Eclipse, you can use billions of other things. But the fact is Android Studio is made by Google, and they keep updating it to be better and better for Android development. Just like Xcode gets better and better for iOS, Apple development, and it's made from Apple. So go with whatever the company is putting out, giving that the company's worthwhile. In this case, Xcode is actually okay. There's better things, like, in my opinion, depending on what exactly you do, Eclipse could be okay, but for this case, I'll say Visual Studio is worthwhile. As long as the version, as long as it can do universal applications, then you can do it. Now, as far as the universal application thing, this is the problem with the Windows Store, Windows applications. If you have a Windows 10 PC, go to the store, and anything that isn't a game, so like if you just open it up and just go to apps and then go through the apps that isn't a game, and you'll see that you get like 1,000 weather apps, a few here and there music and movie apps and stuff like that. But you'll find in the overall there's just a lack of overall apps. It's usually hidden on one section or another, but in the overall there's just a lack of apps. The reason for it is the lack of users. So while it is quote unquote impressive, it's impressive to the average person saying, hey, I made a Windows application. And it is worthwhile. While I will mention that. So make applications, upload it here and whatever, and you might find something that makes you a lot of money. But the problem is will employers actually care about it? And that's what I focus on more. That's why I kind of lean off of Windows applications. I might get back into it over time, but because if you take a look at the market, there is no one hiring for Windows applications. There is no one hiring for the Windows Store applications. In fact, many companies who put their own applications on the Windows Store end up taking them off because of lack of users, because it costs more to actually keep the thing up and maintain versus just taking it off, which many companies, big companies too, just took their things off. And you can look it up, and maybe they'll bring it back, but you'll see that it is a major problem. And I think maybe over time this will be fixed, so it is worthwhile to still keep it in the back of your mind and do it. And maybe for you, do this project, or anyone else that's watching this, maybe work on something and just upload it, see what happens. But for job portfolio reasons, I'll say do that. You can put it on a job portfolio if that's your passion, but you need to be comfortable with writing code for other things. Java is a big thing that you need to be focused on, and a few other things. See, the problem is a lot of managers, and especially the HR almost, and the recruiters almost never have coding experience. Almost never have coding experience. And a lot of them see, oh, Java's a popular thing and our company codes with Java, whereas they don't see it, this, I don't know, whatever language is very close to whatever our company uses. They don't see that. They see popular language, and popular language. So with that being said, just keep that one in mind. But again, I'm not trying to say it's toxic. It's it's still worth it. It's still worthwhile. But if you're going for jobs, it's something else might be better suited. If you're going for money, go make another application than that. And for the most part, just have fun with it. It's a major thing. If you don't have fun with it, then what's the point? Especially for something like that where you are the machine. So anyways, as far as that goes, if you got any questions or anyone else got any questions, then feel free to leave them in the comment section or email it to me. But feel free to leave a like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you next video. Hope you have a great day.